r/AskReddit, poor people of Reddit, what do you wish wealthy people would understand? Yeah. And working 60+ hours a week in soul-destroying job, just to make ends meet rarely brings happiness either. There's nothing worse than when you'd come home from a long day, feel absolutely shattered and fall asleep only to wake up just in time to go back to work again. Being poor is so expensive. The stress of constantly just managing wears you out. People who aren't rich want the same things for their kids that the wealthy want for them. Never enough money to buy the bus card for a month, but just enough to buy single fares every day, even though it's more expensive in the long run. A quick windfall gets spent quickly because there's always something you need but have been holding off on. A short disaster will incur debt that takes far longer to pay off. Such is life with marginal income. Being poor isn't a result of being lazy. My parents worked their asses off and continue to do so. They work harder than anyone I know, but they're still poor. Conversely, I work way less hard than I used to but earn substantially more. I'm more lazy but less poor, and that seems to be the trend all the way up the ladder. That's the reality. I hate the new propaganda work harder. It's a rich people propaganda for their modern slaves, to work harder and make them more money than ever. Sad world we live in. That it is expensive AF to be poor. I wasn't poor, but we didn't have much. I am making good money now and have put a lot into my savings, a money market. With interest rates high, I am making a nice monthly return by doing absolutely nothing. Imagine people that have 10x, 20x, or 100x more money than me. They can be comfortable and not even have to work. Their money invested properly does the work for them. It's not as easy to change your situation as everyone makes it out to be. It's so often not about bad choices / bad with money. Removed. Rich people always think I'm some kind of riff-rat or a street rat. But I don't buy that. Not being able to truly take care of your health. I haven't been to a dentist in 20 years. Sad face. When they say, if you can't afford to pay cash you can't afford it. Yeah, well, try going without a fridge, a water heater and AC, in Florida, no less. That's the last 3 things I had to put on a credit card. Once upon a time I used an HSA account to live off of. I got laid off with no warning and no savings. I was forced to spend all the money on the HSA account on non-medical stuff, mostly bills, gas, and food. I think I still owe somebody somewhere for it. We're not jealous of your material possessions, we're jealous of the stability and security money brings. That being too poor to afford their 3rd trip overseas for the year is not the same as having to live off the same 2 vegetables for a fortnight. I feel you on this. Been eating the same 3 meals for the last 3 years. I no longer enjoy food or look forward to it. It's just something I gotta do to stay alive. The guilt that comes with being poor. That you're doing everything in your power and it's still not enough, yet everyone tells you that if you just work hard enough you'll get enough money. It isn't true. Hard work in low socioeconomic jobs results in more work and being kept in the same position because no one else can do as much as you in that position. No pay rise either because somehow despite doing more you're also just doing the same job as everyone else. You can't invest your savings in stocks or whatever when you have no savings. And, no, the reason we don't have savings isn't because of fucking avocado toast. The lack of opportunities is the worst part. Seems like the worse off you are the tighter and narrower your path. Cobra as a solution to having insurance after you are laid off is a fucking joke. Not having minor and major inconveniences makes you out of touch with us and how a majority of people live. We are doing the best we can with what we have. Oftentimes those choices seem crazy, wrong, unthinkable. But we are just choosing the best out of the worst each time and trying to deal with it all. It's enormously stressful. Not exactly poor now, but been there. There is a poor tax. You pay out a bunch you can't afford to deal with the fact you can't afford normal shit. The story of the boots is very real. You pay a hell of a lot more over time because you can't afford the good shit now, so you have to buy it over and over. Interest when you buy on time is a lot more. You have to pay a lot of fees because you have to decide what to pay this month, etc. A strong middle class greatly expands the economy, increasing their wealth. Squeezing us all is counterproductive. I'd just like for folks to glimpse at what it's like to need medical care and not be able to access it. Navigating free clinics and community health centers with all the administrative obstacles and wait lists and poor service. Having minimal or no preventative care as you age. God help you if you need mental health services. Remember when Celia on Weeds went from a private drug rehab to a publicly funded one? 90% of rags and riches stories are fake. Also, for every rags to riches story there are 20 other stories about someone who tried just as hard, was just as smart, but simply failed. You won't believe how deep into the story they bury the fact that the self-made millennial has rich parents. Arnold has a few thoughts on the self-made man, link. 99% asterisk. The pressure of living to the next paycheck, with no safety net if anything unexpected happens. Survivorship bias. Your materialism means absolutely nothing to me. I am totally unimpressed by your fancy cars, expensive clothes, and your big mansions. People aren't mocking your Cybertruck because they're jealous and poor. They're mocking it because it's ugly. An intelligent person is happy only when he receives his own praise. A fool is content with the applause of others. My friend told me that houses were being built in the city and they're going to be ready in a year or so with only a $30,000 down payment. I have $35,000 in student loan debt and virtually no savings. Where do you think I'm finding $30,000 for a down payment on a house in the next year? 5-figure purchases/payments are not something that most people can just make happen. If I have to pay taxes, you do too. It is overly simplistic, but I always use the toilet paper example. When it is on sale, people with money can stock up. Poor people cannot do that. They have to buy what they can when they need it. Being poor is expensive. Story of my life. Constantly living a finger's width from catastrophic financial disaster with life-altering consequences. Yet I always manage to pull through and keep disaster at bay, but swear the daily management of it is intense. A wealthy person's worst case scenario is a poor person's best case scenario. I have distant family who are multimillionaires, and they have anxiety attacks thinking about flying coach or sending their kids to public school. It's unreal. They can turn off your electricity if you don't pay. Desperation. Getting to a point that you will do anything to be able to feed yourself or your child, even if it means selling your poses science, or your body. That is could give zero FKS about y'all's expensive things. We barely can pay for food here. We have choice, but we don't get the same options. Your money saving tips are useless. Love it when you find money saving tips and they'll be like, make your own coffee at home, buy store brand food, cut down on expenses, and it's like, okay, I already don't drink coffee, buy store brand, except in the cases where store brand is actually more expensive than name brand. Rare but happens, and the expenses in my life that aren't strictly entirely necessary are the only things that keep me from just jumping off a bridge. The price of bread and milk and the essential S in life. The biggest thing I think most people don't understand is the pure stress of being poor. Spending most of your waking hours trying to work out how you'll pay your bills and manage to eat. Sometimes you either have to go hungry for a day or two, as in not eating at all, just so your heat/internet doesn't get cut off. Poor people have just as much of a right to vote in their interest as you do. If you want to vote for lower taxes for landlords, that's fine, but you can't expect poor people to agree with you. My car is on the fritz and I'm just hoping that it makes it another week or two. I'm 28 going on 85. Poor people don't have the freedom to take chances. That's the biggest one for our long-term, societal future. Stephen Jay Gould summed it up best. I am, somehow, less interested in the weight and convolutions of Einstein's brain than in the near certainty that people of equal talent have lived and died in cotton fields and sweatshops. Money might not buy happiness, debatable, but it buys security and good luck being happy without that.
Hey guys, it's Reddit Glitch. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. I just wanted to ask you guys to hit the subscribe button because according to my statistics, 98.8% of my viewers are not subscribed, which I think you should subscribe because it's free and we're going to have a lot more bangers in the future, so subscribe. Again, thanks for watching. Bye.